Vietnam vets had committed suicide since the war ended. 102,000. That's 5 divisions. And he said that number may, if I remember, yeah, he said, and that could be an extremely conservative number, right? He was the VA's leading authority in delayed post-traumatic stress disorder. He was invited to hold a conference in Canada. He went, and the VA, you know how many other people were there from the VA? They came from Canada, they came from all over. But you know how many other people were there from the VA? Not one. Okay, not one. And for years, the VA has denied the PTSD as a diagnosis. They've denied. You can go to the VA, and you talk to these people who, quote, come out of World War II, the big one, the honest one, the just one, right? And, oh, this, you know, it's just a racket, it's just a scam. I've heard people say that.
How old are you?
Do I have to give you my age? I'm recently 49.
What do you want to do for the rest of your life? And let me just inject this. You know, people are sitting there listening to you saying,
yep,
if this problem's ever solved, Michael DePaulo hadn't got anything to do.
Well, I can go back to teaching school. I can go back to doing all kinds of things. I'd like to write a book, thank you, everyone, the problem's solved, maybe. I don't know. You know, what
do you want to do for the rest of your life? You're 49 years old. You have a few things you want to do? You going to keep coming back to Vietnam?
Well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to help in getting this resolved. One of the things that was supposed to have happened, and to finish my story about Lane Evans, anyway, I got bumped.
Who is Lane Evans
The
again?
congressman who didn't want an independent outside source.
From where?
17th District, Moline, Illinois. Okay? When this whole process opened up, and I've got John Kerry on tape, he talks about the new dynamic. This was at the press conference that I covered at USIS in Bangkok, the 23rd of August last year. He talked about the new dynamic. He said, never before has there been this openness and this willing to cooperate and to participate between the Vietnamese and the Americans. And he said, and never before have the fraternal organizations, the VFW, the Legion, the VVA, the DAV, been invited. Ambassador Khan said on Detweiler's journal, when Bob was interviewing him...
Who's Detweiler?
Bob Detweiler, Detweiler's journal out of Continental Cablevision in Norwell, community program. It won all kinds of awards. He's a heck of a guy. He's a good guy. And he said, you know, he told Bob, he said, and I have this on tape too. He said, the problem that we have is that we have asked the Americans to come, to open up an office, to be there, to have a presence there. He said, we also have asked the veterans organizations to come. They're not here. All right? They're not here. And they're fighting, lifting the embargo, they're fighting normalization. You know, none of this stuff is going to be resolved unless you have, at least can operate in some sphere of fairly relaxed, open communication.
All right, let's go back to the politics of this. When you meet, and we have met with lots of Vietnamese here in the government, they all say the embargo will not be lifted until the election is over, almost to a person. Again, what's the politics of it? Let's say all of a sudden that President Bush said the embargo's over, relations are restored. What happens politically that everybody's supposedly afraid of?
What do you think?
I don't know. I'm asking you. I mean, what is the politics of this? Will the veterans organizations immediately oppose the president based on...
As it stands right now, the last article I read in the VFW National Magazine on this matter is that Bob Wallace, the commander-in-chief, has come out against normalization, lifting the trade embargo. But, you know, Bob Wallace represents 2.1 million members of the VFW, and he's busy all the time in an administrative capacity, and he's basically, he's the chief judicial officer for the organization. You've got Bernard Cardinal Law, and you've got people like Monsignor Bill Murphy and Monsignor Tim Moran, and you've got their counterparts, Presbyterians, Unitarians, all different religions, not just Christian, who are here on the ground. They're here. They see it, eat it, smell it, drink it every day of the week. They know what the real problems are, and their only concern is helping those people that are eligible. And Cardinal Law said that through the ODP program, 50,000 refugees had been resettled.
ODP?
The Orderly Departure Program. It was set up.
What's it do?
It gets people who have relatives in the United States, Amerasian children, whose parents had been, or father, whatever, had been located, gets them back to the world. Excuse me, gets them back to the United States. Boy, I haven't used that phrase in a while.
What's that mean, though, for somebody that's never heard back to the world?
Oh, when you were getting shot in Vietnam, you used to say, God, 3 days to wake up and then it's back to the world, you know. And that was supposedly the United States was the world. It was the real world, and everything was not real over here. Everything was abnormal.
Are you happier here doing this kind of thing, moving about Hanoi, or back in the States?
I'm happier. That's mixing apples and oranges, because when I come over here, it's a lot easier this time. Although I still don't sleep at night. I sleep in the afternoon. I go out and have a very light meal, rice and maybe a little fish or something, and then I go back and I sleep, and then I'm usually awake by 10 or 10:30, and I sit up all night, write postcards or whatever, and then I go out, play badminton in the morning, work out a little bit, go back, shower, and like this morning joined you for breakfast. But if it's positive, I'm happiest wherever I feel as though I'm doing something that's halfway decent, positive. Last Monday night, I got Commissioner Hudner and Dick Peterson from the day treatment program, and we went and put on a program at Boston University on the POW-MIA affairs, and I showed some of my tapes from last year, and I was happy there because we were not only well received, but everyone there, no one came with the idea they were going to be a wise guy. They came with an idea to say, well, what's going on? What can we do? Let's get the thing resolved. You know, enough is enough. You know, the head of Bissinger's Chocolates, I talked with him. I sent the guys over here in the Joint Search Team, I sent them a box of chocolates for Christmas. And they'd never had a gift packet go to Hanoi before, that they could recall, you know. And
did it get here?
It got here. It got to the people. It got to the man it was addressed to. Because I got a thank you note saying how fresh and delicious the candy was. What a neat treat. But most people that I know of in the United States say enough is enough. You know, let's get it done. Let's get it resolved. Let's work on it. And to hold 67 million people hostage because of a few hardliners that may still exist in the Vietnamese government. I want to know where we get off being so self-righteously hypocritical, because if you go and see my friend Dr. Fung in Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon, she's going to tell you, and she's got hard evidence, she'll take you into the room of fetuses, and you'll see a huge room, like a vault, floor to ceiling, with fetuses and newborns and cesareans, all malformed, all because of dioxin poisoning. The United States, or CEDO, whatever acronym you want to use, the Allies in the Vietnam conflict, defoliated 10% of then the Republic of South Vietnam, our neighbor. Right? What was it? Which chemical corporation? Dow, DuPont, I don't know. We put $180 million in trust, and hoping that people who handled Agent Orange and Agent White and Agent Blue would go away and leave them alone. Never accepting the responsibility for what this has done to a lot of our own people. But they, you know, so they nick everybody a nickel on their dividend. They stick $180 million in the bank, and they're going to resolve it. There's 5 to 6 million people down here. It's not going to be resolved. Dr. Fung we were in the operating room. She removed a tumor from a cancerous uterus from a 24-year-old woman who was suckled on mother's milk that was loaded with dioxin. I mean, she can, and Dr. Lê Kodai here in Hanoi at the Hanoi Medical College, he's got it all graphically done. He's got a whole wall. He's got it in maps, he's got it in sections. And it's been corroborated. All of this stuff has been corroborated, yeah, by the people in places like UMass Boston and by medical teams in the United States. I mean, come on. I always thought we were big enough. What did Japan and Germany after the war?
We've got to wrap this up, but before we do, you're only here a couple of days. How long are you going to stay again?
I'm not sure.
Roughly.
They don't know I'm here yet, you know.
Who doesn't know you're here?
The press bureau. Nobody knows I'm here yet. I just came, checked in.
What do you want to do between now and the time? You say you're going to stay a month this time?
I have a visa for 3 weeks and 23 days in country.
You going to stay here all the time? You're going south?
Well, I was going to meet Joe Milano from the Ancient and Honorable in Saigon. He's coming there for the first time for a couple of days, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that. I have to. There are some things. No, I'll be candid. as you know, we can talk about this, can't we? Sure, what the hell, why not? As you know, at noon, the day before we left Bangkok, an ex-Patriot American put into my hand 3 photographs. I showed those, I shared those with you. I told you what I thought they were. I shared them with the team, with Bill Bell, with Jack Donovan, and with Emmett, a civilian linguist and data researcher over here. And everybody, the consensus is unanimous. Definitely U.S. hard assets, definitely set up as kind of a shrine memorial, whatever you want to call it. And I was also given some further information. There's nothing to do with live POWs now or MIAs, but what it does have to do with...
What's an asset, by the way? What are we talking about?
Aircraft maybe, or...
Did somebody located over here that had not been seen before?
That had not been seen before. Bill Bell, Emmett, Jack Donovan, everyone that I shared it with here said, yeah, no doubt the photos are genuine. There's no doubt about that. You tell that. I could tell that. I mean, they were the first print off the negative, 35 millimeter. And they said, yeah, where is it? And I said, well, when you pick a time and we'll all sit down and I'll give you everything that I was given in Bangkok, and I'll give it to you all at the same time, and I'll give it to you when we're all together, because I don't want to tell you, Jack, and I don't want to tell Bill, and I don't want to tell Emmett. We'll sit down and we'll talk about it together.
But what's the purpose of all that? So what?
It's information that they don't have in their system, and it's information. If it helps resolve the fate of just one of our MIAs, why not?
You're suggesting that if you were to go to this location and see this equipment, it might result in what?
In at least the fate of at least one of the 2,666.
And again, are you expecting to find somebody alive?
I don't think so.
Michael DePaulo,
great.
Thank you very much for spending this time with us.
It's all right, Brian. We're going to go to piano bar tonight? Have a good time? Huh?
I'll let you be our ambassador there.
Okay. Thanks, Brian. It was I got to tell you, this has been a real slice of life, Brian. It's been a Kodak moment, no doubt about it.
You're watching Vietnam Revisited on C-SPAN. One of the main means of transportation in Vietnam is the pedicab, a bicycle with a covered seat attached. A short 10 to 15-minute ride on a pedicab costs 2,000 dong, or 20 cents. Pedicab drivers earn $18 a month. Drivers must purchase their pedicab at the cost of $200. Vietnam Revisited continues in a few moments with an interview with Lê Bang, head of the Americas Department of the Vietnamese Foreign Ministry. He sat down with us recently in Hanoi to talk about Vietnamese politics, including the prospect of future relations with the United States and the recent fact-finding mission conducted by the Senate Select Committee on POW MIA affairs. But first, a part of Hanoi at night, as seen from a pedicab.